Well, yes, indeed. Ever since that commentary from the CBN, you also have that from the Senate. Well, we're focusing on that and a lot more this morning on the program. We're joined now by Bolaji Ogunseye, who is a development economist. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you. Good morning.
Well, where does one start about all of this? Because while many wait for that, maybe the Minister of Finance and the CBN governor to appear before the Senate, the people out there, they're feeling the pinch. So irrespective of the statistics, the figures, whatever deliberations happen out there, they want solutions out there. But at the moment, the policies that are being maybe churned out or being implemented don't seem to be working. Or what do you think?
I think Nigeria, sometimes I want to call it, has been singularly unfortunate, unlucky, I don't know. But I think if you look at the pattern since 1960, let's say, even though things were better, and if you look at the last great governance era in Nigeria, it was really 1952 or the Awolowo and Ahmadu Bello and things, up till 1960, okay? We've had how many? About 4 national development plans. I mean, you know, those ones that were deliberate from 1962. The first one was going to be 1962 to 1968, I think. The 1966 coup broke that, and then we went to civil war, and that never concluded. Then you had another one, 7 to 74, all the way to 85 or something. And I've studied those national plans. The first thing you see is you haven't seen decades of deliberate, conscious continuity. In other words, the first plan builds into the second plan. The second plan tries to improve whatever is wrong with the first plan, national development plan, and then we get the third. No, it's been, you know what I mean, different plan this time, you know, and then...
Do we identify that as a problem from what you've seen?
It is a problem.
But have we identified it and said, listen, this is a problem which we must stop?
I don't know whether those in government have done. I like to think that, I don't know, many of them will see this thing. Look, I'll only say something. There's no government comes to power in Nigeria that says, you know, I'm coming to destroy the whole place, I'm coming to cause inflation, I'm coming to make people... All of them come with this good intention. But if you look at the national experience from the point of view of development, the place is a graveyard, a massive graveyard of good intentions. So they come, they do, and you study these plans, each one takes on too many things in terms of its ambitions. You understand? And some of them are just full of watery, woolly stuff. Look, I've read material in some of the past national development plans. You see things like, we want to ensure that all Nigerians have, you know, social reason. That is not the essence of a plan. A plan is a massive vision for today as building block, as foundation, against the tomorrow you want to get to. You know what I mean? The same way our parents send us to university, which is the today thing, because they want us to be doctor, engineer, tomorrow. Do you understand? So they pay school fees, they do this, that, and the university takes you through a particular... It's that we have not done. We don't need development plans with 20 different points, 10 different... Just about 3 major things. And the core of it has to be industrialization. I hope this government has got it. I hear 1 or 2 things that gives me... But if you don't industrialize in the modern era, you will be a poor country. You can do any other thing. You can build 500 bridges. You can have all you won't. And that should be at the core of all these national plans.
I think absolutely. But if you look at it, government in and out, even to the present-day government, they've been about diversification, diversifying our economy. And every time you hear the solid mineral resource ministers speak, one tend to have some form of hope. Are you seeing any kind of move? Because from your own perspective now, it's accepted that we've always talked about the need for us to diversify. Have you seen any move that shows that we are headed that way?
You don't know. Well, you see, government is both an open and a closed business. I mean, they have all sorts of things. When they've written out their plans, when they've finished their strategy document, they work with people from everywhere, UN, from university and things, and all their experts. Then you see this thing, this document at the end. Now, that's different from seeing the implementation of I was a member of the Vision 2020, and I had a fairly major coordinating role within my own subgroup, education and employment, But where is Vision 2020 now? I don't know who has seen it in this. Now, the problem is not even so much as, it's not so much one of drawing up the plan, drafting the plan, visioning the plan, structuring the plan. People tend to go to sleep after that. Do you know it's something that happens a lot? It's a psychological feeling. You spend nights and sleepless nights, you bring in experts, you are coordinating. I saw it in Vision 2020. When you finish, you have a great document. If you are not careful, there's a residual psychology that now our work is done. We have the vision, when actually it's like a marriage, The day you finish the marriage with all the pomp and circumstance and pageantry, well, the journey itself just starts. You understand? 30 years, 40 years, 50 years into the future. That is the marriage. It's not so much the ceremony. It's not so much the 50 million wedding and everything. It's the same thing with, having a national vision. Do you understand? Now, I think the challenge is getting the right kind of people and being able to make our institutions deliver.
But why does it look...
Our institutions, our MBAs and all these specialized agencies
Why does it look like a big deal getting the right person? So we have abundance of them in this country, don't we?
Yes, but you see, I worry that somehow we have not shown a robust capacity to A, build strong institutions, B, enable them to work according to the vision that we have given to them. Look, I'm sorry, I'm going to say something today. I don't know whether it's politically correct, but because it's in the news, we all see it. Look at the PDP. Now, look, I'm not telling you whether I like PDP more than APC, but I'm just saying this is an institution issue. It's supposed to be an institution. This is a party that ruled Nigeria for 16 years, right? And they control most of the states. But they couldn't build that party into an institution that is ongoing, that is self-sustaining. Once they leave power, you can see the whole thing, Le monde s'effondre. The world is, what is achievist thing? Things fall apart. So if a party that has ruled Nigeria for 16 years did not spend that time building its political platform into such a strong institution, now transfer that to the national development challenge, can these people, can these kinds of leadership build the solid, well-grounded, well-anchored institutions that have processes, cultures, and ways of doing and ways of being, those kinds of institutions that you need to drive development, especially industrialization. I want everything, including this government, they should put industrialization at the core of all their plans. Look, what I would love to see at the end of 2018 or 20, when this government has done 4 years, they should feel satisfied that they've put the foundational props for Nigeria's industrialization
that's another part
in place.
Now,
they should be consciously doing that.
At the moment, do you think they can do that? Because look, 1 year is gone. The next year, who knows? Because there'll be a lot of process before some of those procedures, the infrastructure development, will come to fruition. And then who knows, by the second or the third year, they'll be planning for the fourth year in politics, for the next elections. And so what can they do?
See, look, I really feel pity for every government in this country. Nigeria didn't start falling apart under Jonathan. This is a 40-year almost sort of problem. Bad policy on the back of of a worse policy, and forward, backward, and everything. The problem is so what that produces for like a Buhari government that says he wants to fight corruption, he wants to change the game, he wants to steer the country differently. What that gives as a challenge to every government at federal level is that they are forced to deal with what I call bread and butter governance issues. Have you noticed things that should have become routine within the national leadership management experience? They will be routine. You take them for granted so that you can face the big ticket items for tomorrow's challenges. They are the ones that keep us busy. You know, how to stop flooding on our road, how to build inner city road, how to do water, how to do wastewater management, how to do NEPA, how to do water, how to get people to pass school site. I mean, this is funny. So you get even with the best of intent. Look at this government. You know, they have all this great intention, change, a lot of goodwill capital. I worry that if things don't change for the people, for generality of the people, within another year, they would have wasted a lot of that goodwill capital. You know? But the thing is, governments are too tied down in Nigeria dealing with bread and butter issues.
What's tying the government down?
Because of this, I told you, this historical pile of bad policies upon bad policies, lack of willingness to make things happen, and maybe not even knowing how to focus.
Is it a question of
development?
Is it a question of bad policies, or, for lack of a better word, proper understanding of indices in your face? For instance, let's look at issues of the economy and recession. We talk about inflation. These are indices that point towards recession. Inflation, reduced consumer confidence, reduced real wages, high interest rates. These indices are there, and they've been there for a while. So is it a question of not understanding the indices, or not willingness, or not having a willingness to move? What exactly is tying government after government down?
There's a structural problem, and I think I've talked about it on this channel before, somewhere else, I don't know. Nigeria, I can defend this statement anywhere. Nigeria is not structured for development. The kind of structure we have now, political power structure, the country is not structured to develop. It's not structured to drive industrialization, to make us compete economically. This is why we figured geopolitical zone before we figured geoeconomic zones. You think that if economic development was the great passion of leadership in this country,